For Harry Mulgrew, the reality of being back on home soil is still sinking in.
There was a point when I thought there was no way I was going to be able to get to see my family again this year.
It's been an agonising 6 months trying to get home from Munich, where he and his fiancée have lived for the last few years.
We'd had 6 flight cancellations and it was a really tough time because we didn't have jobs, we didn't have a house and we couldn't get back home.
But Harry's one of the lucky ones, despite this promise from the PM in September.
And I would hope that we can get as many people home, and if not all of them, by Christmas.
And then this yesterday.
We've already got 35,000 home, so we're well on the track to deal with the scale of demand that we had at that time.
DFAT figures revealed at a Senate hearing paint a very different picture. Of the 26,800 Aussies who'd registered for help getting home by September, just 14,000 have since returned. Meanwhile, the waiting list has grown to nearly 37,000. The number of vulnerable Aussies begging for rescue has doubled from 4,000 to 8,000.
Germany has brought home 187,000. Canada has brought home 50,000 of their citizens. Donald Trump managed to bring home 100,000 Americans.
Qantas has promised to send planes to Germany and France next month to get more of our citizens home.
There are more to follow over the coming weeks from both New Delhi and London and other locations.
And hotel quarantine is ramping up. The Howard Springs quarantine facility near Darwin will double its intake to 1,000 per fortnight, and South Australia will resume its program on Tuesday. Tassie is set to start taking international arrivals, and Victoria's program will restart December 7.
We're working day and night to get as many Australians home by Christmas as possible.
But with the current cap permitting just 5,625 Aussies to enter the country a week, pressure's mounting on the PM to grant some Christmas wishes and make good on his promise.
I don't think it's Australian treating our fellow citizens this way.
Well, David Jeffries and his wife Kate have spent more than $25,000 trying to return home from Canada with their young son. Kate and David join us now. David, let me ask you, how did you and your family get stuck over there?
Oh, look, it certainly wasn't on purpose. My mother was diagnosed with late-stage cancer in January of this year. We decided it was a good opportunity to take her little grandson out to see her and just cheer her up and help them out for about a month or so. So we were planning to return the end of March. So we left our house right at the end of February. At that point, we were watching the COVID. We were aware of it, but there was only a handful of cases, even in the US. It looked like we were going to get on top of it. As March progressed, that wasn't the case. And on the 17th, we were advised by the Australian government that we should consider returning home, which was fine for us because we had tickets booked before the end of the month. And then 3 days later, bam, everything just changed. Our flights got cancelled. The borders between the US and Canada got closed. Airports weren't taking transits. The routes that we were relying on to get home were in fact postponed until April 30th. So we just had no way of getting home.
So you've had to spend something like $25,000. Where's all the money gone?
Well, most of what we've endured so far financially has been setting up accommodation and somewhere to live over here, and all the expenses involved in that, the rent, utilities. We needed to source a car. We've had very expensive medical coverage just for accident and injury, which we had to have while we were here, plus paying our mortgage in Australia, our rates in Australia, a house that we can't actually get to.
Oh, you're living in limbo. What's the hardest thing about existing like this?
I have been trying to think of an analogy for how I can really get across how difficult it is just not knowing where you're going to be next month and not seeing the world get any better. We are seeing our opportunities for transit. We're seeing those options for getting home actually getting smaller and more minute. The wait times between even trying to get on these flights have been extended. We went from September to December. It's been one of the most difficult things, particularly with a young one and trying to get them home safe without getting stuck in transit.
And David, how is your son going through all of this?
Look, he's 20 months old, so he doesn't really understand what is going on. We haven't been able to socialize him, of course, so he's made friends with the little baby on the Huggies box. So they have some good fun. Because we don't have access to anything other than accident and emergency healthcare, we haven't been able to get him his medical checks. And we were actually quite a few months late in being able to source him his vaccines over here. So health-wise, it's a concern if anything was to go wrong, but he's doing okay.
David, Kate, I'm sure everyone watching wishes you back home as soon as possible. Good luck with it all, and thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
From expert opinions to in-depth analysis and reporting, the Project YouTube brings you the biggest stories from Australia and around the globe. Hit the subscribe button now for news delivered straight to your feed.